Sugar Sean O'Malley.
It's O'Malley! O'Malley! Next motherfucking champ in the UFC.
Sean O'Malley is the UFC bantamweight champion.
Welcome to the Sugar Show, everybody!
Sugar Sean O'Malley, ladies and
The Sugar Show! This is my show!
How did Sean O'Malley become a global superstar? Most of us were introduced to him on the first season of Dana White's Contender Series when he cut this now infamous promo.
Welcome to the Sugar Show! This is my show!
From there, he was just on a rocket ship to superstardom. There was even lots of talk early in his UFC career about him potentially being the next Conor McGregor. So let's talk about what made him the star that he became and then what happened. After going 7-0 in professional MMA, Sean O'Malley was called up to the Contender Series. This was the first season of the Contender Series, and they were doing something special for this season. They had an option for commentary that was Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber, and this was called the Snoopcast. This was amazing.
That's ground and pound. He went ground beef on him. He meat tenderized his ass. What is that though?
You don't want to
Take
know.
the booty position? He had him in to take the booty position.
Sean O'Malley knocked out his opponent in the first round, and Snoop Dogg absolutely lost it.
3-piece dinner with biscuits. O'Malley! O'Malley! O'Malley!
Oh, yeah.
O'Malley! Give that kid a contract! Hey, this the next motherfucking champ in the UFC, man. The Sugar Show, believe it. Cold with it, man.
Dana White saw that, and I would love to know what was going through his head, but it was very clear he knew he'd found the next big thing, the Sugar Show. O'Malley won his UFC debut by decision, moving to 9-0, and this got the fans pretty hyped up about this young prospect. These are some of the comments from after the fight. O'Malley is like a super Nate Diaz. I see a lot of similarities between O'Malley and McGregor, including his cardio. Someone replied, he definitely has some natural charisma like Conor. Nice to see someone that has it without forcing it. Interesting. Anyone get bantamweight John Jones vibes with how he utilizes his range? This fight was super exciting. Sean showcased his really creative style of MMA. Someone said, thought his cardio was shot in the second round, but sick comeback in the third. Gotta be one of the most exciting fighters on the roster. Spinning kicks and flying triangles. So the people were getting excited, but it wasn't getting crazy yet. Sean said in an interview that he gained 3,000 followers after that UFC debut. UFC was definitely liking what they were seeing though, because in his next fight, which was in 2018, he was put on the main card, the third fight on the UFC 222 pay-per-view. That's a pretty crazy slot on a card for someone who had only just debuted in the UFC. In this fight, he won another decision, and he also injured his foot in the third round. This gave us this hilarious post-fight interview.
Tell me what happened with your foot.
Oh, it really hurt. But nothing a little medicine can't fix after the fight, after my after party. I love everything about this sport, and I love you, Joe Rogan.
Well, I love you too, buddy.
Welcome to the Sugar Show, everybody!
After this fight, he also signed a new contract with the UFC for 4 fights, and Sean kept it vague, but allegedly this was a pretty good increase in pay. He says that it was over 6 figures. But then the hype train took a little pause because Sean O'Malley tested positive for a USADA drug test. He was scheduled to fight Jose Quinones at UFC 229. Yes, that UFC 229, but the fight got canceled when he tested positive. He had trace amounts of Ostarine in his system. Sean says that this wasn't intentional and that he actually thinks it was tainted caffeine pills that he was taking.
This is me coming clean about my suspension in 2018. I'm in the locker room at the MMA lab, about to go spar. Before sparring, I don't have my phone on me. I don't look at my phone. And it started ringing, like when I grabbed my phone. UFC anti-doping is calling me. And he says, hey, Sean, how's it going? I was like, I'm doing well. And he says, you tested positive for Ostarine. And I didn't know what Ostarine was. I was like, okay, what's that? He said, it's a banned substance. Stomach drops to the floor.
You can't fucking believe it. Like, especially we get all the way through fight camp. Getting ready to spar, I walk into the locker room and I see Sean in tears. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I talk to Jeff Novinsky and it's like, holy shit.
It's fake. It doesn't even seem real.
I am going to get pulled from this card.
He was suspended for 6 months.
There would be a 6-month suspension, which would expire on March 5th, 2019. And since the positive test was prior to the fight, there was no purse. And since there was no purse, there can be no fine. There nonetheless, though, would be attorney fees in the amount of $472.
During the suspension, Sean kept busy playing Fortnite and growing his Twitch channel.
How's the foot doing? I get surgery tomorrow. But I'll be working and grinding in this fucking studio. I got score! Sorry, boys. Oh! Good shit, baby.
At this time, he said he was making $4,500 a month just from gaming. This was great from a personal brand standpoint because it broadened his audience to not just people interested in MMA, but people interested in gaming. And for his MMA fans, it allowed for them to connect with him on a bit of a more personal level and kind of feel like they're just hanging out with him, shooting the shit with him, playing games.
I'm pretty close with my fans, you know, especially when I stream and play Xbox. Like, I talk to a lot of fans on there. And they know me on a real level. Like, that's just me. When I'm playing Xbox and I'm talking to these guys, that's me.
After the suspension, he was scheduled to fight Chito Vera at UFC 239, but this fight was scrapped because he tested positive for Osterine again.
My manager at the time calls me and says, hey, man, like, I'm sorry to tell you, you are still testing for Osterine. I'm supposed to fight Chito. So this happened again. I was laying in bed, just start crying. I was like, I might never fight again.
This was Sean's public statement. USADA has notified me that Osterine, the substance that showed up in my system last year and led to USADA sanctioning me, has resurfaced at an extremely low level in 2 recent tests. The good news is that USADA says this is most likely residual from last year and that the low level is providing me with no performance advantage. That's why USADA is not re-sanctioning me for these results. The bad news is that the Nevada State Athletic Commission has temporarily suspended me while they look into the situation. While I feel terrible to let down my fans who are looking forward to watching me fight in Las Vegas, I look forward to publicly discussing my case before the Nevada State Athletic Commission with scientific experts who can explain why very low levels of Osterine are showing up in my system. And this is coming from ESPN after the case was settled. The USADA said it believed that the Osterine came from a tainted dietary supplement, which the agency reiterated earlier this month about the second anti-doping violation. None of O'Malley's drug findings have been consistent with intentional use per USADA, but he was still suspended for 9 more months.
Yeah, you know, I didn't understand tainted supplements. I didn't understand that I'm like, there's no way I'm going to test for something if I'm not taking it. Like, that was my mindset before.
In the meantime, Sean stayed busy by doing some grappling events. He actually competed in a quintet. And guys, if you haven't seen a quintet yet, you absolutely have to. It's a jiu-jitsu event, and it's my favorite type of jiu-jitsu event. They're so fun. Anyways, in the quintet that Sean O'Malley did, he competed against Takanori Gomi and submitted him. The legend Takanori Gomi. Very cool. So Sean O'Malley was cleared to make his UFC return at UFC 248 in March of 2020 against Jose Quinones. His return was huge. He TKO'd Quinones in the first round. Classic Suga Show performance. He was piecing him up from the outside, showcasing his precision before finding the finish. His Octagon interview after this fight was a really interesting look into his mentality and what winning this fight meant to him.
I'm here with the winner, Sean O'Malley. Welcome back. Is this overwhelming for you, man? I know we should tell people you've been off for 2 years. You had to go through all sorts of adversity to get back here into the octagon, and to do that and just have a spectacular performance against a tough guy like Jose Quinones. How good does this feel?
It's hard to put into words.
He was back in the octagon 3 months later, facing Eddie Wineland at UFC 250. Their slot on this card was the first fight on the main card. This was an epic night for Sean O'Malley. He got the walk-off knockout against Wineland, and this clip went absolutely viral. This win brought him to 12-0, still undefeated, and was huge for his career. The hype was only building, and it's hard now to look back and keep track of his growth with actual metrics, but MMA Fighting stated in an article that he had 1 million followers in August of 2020, followers on Instagram. And this was written only 2 months after this fight. MMA Fighting also noted that his Twitch channel had amassed an impressive audience. He was also showing his personality more on social media. He was posting these Tony Ferguson style random funny workout videos. Sean O'Malley was rebooked to fight Chito Vera at UFC 252. Fun fact, this painting is of Chito. I painted it because Chito is one of my all-time favorite fighters. And I want to have a brief intermission to show you guys my Chito fighter cards. Whoopsies. This is my other Chito card. They're a little bit different, but I think they are gorgeous. I don't have a Sean O'Malley one yet though, so that's gonna need to change. Okay, back to business. This fight, Chito versus Sean, was a super weird one. Chito was landing calf kicks on Sean in the first round, and Chito landed this kick that I guess hit Sean right on the spot of his calf where there's this nerve. And when this kick landed, it temporarily paralyzed Sean's lower leg. So his movement was clearly compromised, and Chito ended up getting the TKO. This was Sean's first loss in pro MMA, and it started the mentally undefeated memes about Sean O'Malley. In the next year, 2021, Sean had 3 wins by TKO, including the now infamous fight with Chris Mutino. This was an absolute banger of a fight, you guys. Watch it back right now. Then there was that weird no contest eye poke situation with Pedro, but let's get to his next fight after that because that's where things get really interesting. Sean's next fight was against Petr Yan in Abu Dhabi, UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev. A historical event. But this fight was a big step up in competition for Sean. This was a big test, his biggest test yet, because when Sean fought Pedro was ranked 11th. After the fight, Sean took Pedro's ranking at 11, which is a bit weird because Sean didn't actually win that fight. That fight was ended by no contest, eye poke situation. But anyways, Petr Yan was ranked number 1. He was the number 1 contender in bantamweight when Suga was set to fight him. This caused a lot of talk in MMA circles about Dana White privilege for Sean O'Malley.
He says that you're not 5'7", that you're 5'5". Can you confirm that you are 5'7"?
There's no way he can't. No, he can't.
Он говорит, что твой рост указан неверно в статистике, что ты ниже, чем указано.
Братан, при чем тут рост? Вы посмотрите на его вид. Это как девушка с дороги, я не знаю.
It's not about the height. Just look at him. He's like a whore on the side of the road.
Any response, Sean, or are you just going to leave that one there?
No, that was good. That was good.
Regardless of how you scored this one, this was scored officially as a win for Sean O'Malley. This was huge for his career, and I think it was at this point where I would have considered him mainstream. I had non-MMA fan friends at my university campus asking me about Sean O'Malley. So this was a big moment. Another byproduct of this big win against Petr Yan, the number 1 contender, is a title shot against Aljamain Sterling. Again, there were critics talking about how, oh, he lost that fight against Petr and he didn't win against Pedro, blah, blah, blah. Why is he getting a title shot? But at the same time, you gotta understand, the UFC loves Sean O'Malley. Aljamain Sterling wasn't really in the business of selling many tickets. I like Aljamain Sterling. I felt like he was treated so poorly by the fans, but you can't deny it. Sean O'Malley was a star, and UFC wanted this matchup to happen, and they wanted it to play out exactly how it did. So let's talk about it. At the time, Aljamain Sterling had defended his title 3 times, and he was looking pretty unstoppable at bantamweight, because at the time, so you might remember Aljamain Sterling and Merab are besties. This was when Aljo was at bantamweight, so they were both in the same division. They were refusing to fight each other. So Aljo was the champ. Merab was basically clearing out the division for him. So essentially, there were no real contenders for Aljo because him and Merab together had cleared out the division, and the two of them would not fight. Sean O'Malley fighting Petr Yan gave him the workaround to not have to fight Merab. This title shot against Aljamain Sterling was Sean O'Malley's first main event, and the conversation around this fight was all about whether Sean could handle the grappling of Aljo, because at this point he hadn't really fought a really elite wrestler. He did have some grappling exchanges with Petr, but Petr is more of a well-rounded martial artist. Aljo is a specialist with wrestling. In this fight, Sean landed a beautifully, perfectly timed right hand that put Aljo out cold. Sean O'Malley, as the champion, was amazing. This was him the night that he won the belt.
You are the man. You're the man. You are the man. You're the man.
I also bought this hoodie to commemorate the moment. It says champion, and the back is pretty cool too. just couldn't pass it up. The moment was too good. Sorry guys, it's the next day. The rest of this video filmed in slow motion with no audio. So I tried to look the same. I'm wearing the same hoodie, but let's get back on with the video. So Sean O'Malley had one title defense, which was a rematch with Cheeto in which Sean won. And then he was scheduled to fight Merab. So definitely the UFC gifted him with an easier first title defense with Cheeto. This is something that Sean has joked about as well. But, you know, this title fight with Merab was inevitable. He deserved it before Sean fought Cheeto. But anyway, Sean and Merab are both big characters in the UFC, so the lead up to this fight was pure comedy.
Hey buddy, you need help grabbing something? Yeah, I can grab that for you. There you go. Yeah, I'll come turn the light on for you, buddy. Don't forget to wipe. Buddy, no, that's something you'll never be able to reach, you little fucking dork. Keep trying though, seriously.
Help but notice the jacket you're wearing there. I wondered, was there a reason you wore that one today, or you just felt that fashionably it was the right choice?
Yeah, I know, this is kind of where the whole rivalry started, so I was bringing it back. Made sense.
Thank you. Then ask me to give you a jacket back. Otherwise, I will keep it the jacket back.
I know you got a whole year.
Better than that.
Real soon. Get ready to come back to the big
real soon, baby.
Get this piece of shit on my face.
Awesome victory for you. So I just want to congratulate you on retaining your title. I look forward to seeing you.
Now let's get to the fight. Sean, unfortunately, and excuse my language, got wrestle-fucked by Merab and lost the belt. This was a pretty brutal fight for Sean, I'm not gonna lie. And I think this is the first fight that Sean really had to face the fact that he lost. He genuinely lost this fight. With the Cheeto loss, he could still play the mentally undefeated because it was such a freak thing that happened. Like what the fuck? We didn't even know that it was a possibility for someone's leg to go numb due to a calf kick, or at least I didn't know that. So this just seemed like a freak fight outcome. So it fed right into Sean being like, oh, I'm still undefeated. I'm mentally undefeated. But seeing him actually get manhandled by Merab out there, you can't deny that. There's no excuses for that. So Sean and Merab had a rematch.
Before we get into the actual fight, I have to ask, you're wearing the jacket. It seems like you have a Sean doll with you. So I guess what prompted this attire and to bring that out?
And this is a little joke, of course.
And Merab won this rematch by submitting Sean with this cool ninja choke variation. Now Sean's next fight was earlier this year against Song Yadong. This was the first card of the year, UFC 324. Sean won by decision. From what I remember though, I feel like this was a pretty close fight. Could be remembering wrong. Let me know if you thought the decision went the right way. Now, the title picture in the bantamweight division just got a lot more interesting for Sean because Petr Yan beat Merab, and Merab has been looking like the GOAT at bantamweight. So here, now we're in a situation where we've got the MMA math trifecta. Sean lost to Merab, Merab lost to Petr in the rematch, and Petr lost to Sean. What the fuck? We're all assuming the UFC is going to do the Petr Yan Merab trilogy. Merab has definitely earned that. But I bet you Sean is manifesting every night that Petr beats Merab and Sean wins his next fight against Ayman Zahabi so that Sean can get that next shot at the title against Petr Yan. This would be the dream scenario for Sean because that Petr Yan fight is a lot more winnable than the Merab fight. Anyways, as Sean puts it, he's kind of fallen off. But no, this isn't fully accurate. This is just, a joke that makes sense to make right now with the context of the UFC White House card and all the stars that are on that card. Pereira, Gane, Ilia Topuria, Justin Gaethje. There's so much star power that it does seem like Sean is getting a little bit overlooked. In the first press conference they did for this event, Sean didn't even get asked a single question. So I love that Sean can joke that he's fallen off, but in the context of things, the fans know that he's a super skilled fighter, he's super technical, and as with anyone going through a couple losses and being in a bit of a rut, would damaged the hype a little bit. And those losses to Merab aren't bad losses in the slightest. You know, a lot of people are talking about Merab being the greatest of all time at bantamweight. So those really aren't bad losses. And Sean is now undoubtedly a household name. He's been able to find a way to connect with the fans in a unique way by just showing that he's a regular guy, and I think the fans love that because they relate to him so much. He's funny online, but at the same time, he doesn't take himself too seriously. He comes across like he doesn't really care, like nonchalant about it. He's just a stoner, video game playing, regular guy. And this is what the MMA fans want to see. And as evidence to his monumental rise to superstardom, he now has 4.8 million Instagram followers. And this all started with a screaming Snoop Dogg and a raw, unfiltered post-fight moment. But his fight coming up with Aiemann Zahabi is pretty interesting. I think a lot of people are overlooking it because they don't see Aiemann Zahabi as a real contender or as a good fighter, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. He's kind of been in the background building up a great streak. He has 7 wins in a row. So he's on a great run. And even though there have been 1 or 2 controversial decisions on that win streak, he still is becoming a really well-rounded technical fighter, and he puts on exciting fights. Also, he's Canadian, so represent. But at the same time, this one's tricky for me because I'm an OG Suga Sean fan. But I do really think this is going to be a super fun fight, so let me know your predictions, who you think is going to take this one. And let me know what you think of Sean O'Malley's monumental rise to superstardom. And if you watched this far into the video, comment down below your dream blunt rotation. Bye!